are willing to share them with us, because there are drills you see that, oh, I do something like that would be better. And we have this much time. So, like, let's see. I'll put the resources up here, because Ann and I came to all of these clinics. We listened, we got the books, I asked for the videos, VHS, DVDs, and then I have the high school track and field clinic, and then this one, setting up your season, she was here. So we used to stay at the hotel, and we'd go and we'd set out all of these things on the bed, and we'd look, okay, how are we gonna do the macros? How are we gonna do the aerobic and anaerobic thresholds, and how are we gonna get that into what makes sense for us? And all of these things have helped us and helped me do that along the way. So this, as I was getting ready, this quote came up, and I thought, it's true, when winter will ask what you were doing all summer, or when spring is going to say, what were you doing all winter? Just being prepared. Having to come here and do this, boy, did I clean out a lot of stuff. Getting through all of the things, I've got a 3-ring binder full of drills and theory and looking through that, and oh yeah, we tried that, yeah, no, that one wasn't. It's that process and not stopping that process, continuing all the time. So this basically is my philosophy for coaching. I need to be prepared, and honestly, I retired, so this year I'm not teaching. Besides, it's a lot easier. Doing all your lesson plans, being with the kids all day, going. There were times I walked out on the track and thought, okay, what am I going to do today? And that isn't a good feeling for me. I like to have it planned. So I also am not one who, you're the star, and so you're my attention. All of them, the ones who are crawling over the hurdles, all of them, I'm in charge of, and it's my job to help them. So it's all about doing the best you can. I have been fortunate. I said this with gymnastics. I had some very good teams. In hurdles, I have been blessed with some very good hurdlers. I'd like to think I helped them along the way, but they had something when they came in too. So if we get caught up in it's about us, that's detrimental to what we're doing. I just put this up because when I started, I had a hard time trying to, they were talking about discounting hurdles, and I thought, what are you talking about? What is a discounted hurdle? You take it out, what do you, I didn't know what any of those things were. So I only coach girls. Blaine is 2 teams. Boys, girls, the boys have one side of the track, we have one side of the track. Our side of the track is the start finish where the hurdle markings are for the 100. The boys have the opposite side where your 300s are, and counting steps between the hurdles or steps to the first hurdle, I had a hard time figuring out what worked for me to count their steps. One of the first, or how to get that in there. And do you alternate legs? Do you not alternate legs? Which leg should be back in the starting block? Those kinds of issues are things you discover with your athletes too, as well as what the best practice is. When I talk about sharing the track, we we have indoor season, right? Or indoor practice. We do not have an indoor facility. It is a gym. And it is scheduled for all the spring sports, including baseball and softball arm prep. So sometimes, what's our latest time? 8:45 to 10? So our times you're trying to get kids to be on the team and be able to be there. We have kids who cannot come back to school once they leave. And if you practice at 8:45, means they're not going to be there. So we do try to be able to get outside, but we cannot always be outside, and you know that if you coach in Minnesota. We share, we've worked with the guys, so now we're all going to be in the field house at the same time when we have those late practices, so that we could go earlier. If the girls have the time slot before, we're done at 8, but the boys would be with us. Our boys team's 200. We have 100. There's a lot of people in there. This will be the first year that we are sharing the entire space more often. We have access to a pool. So a couple of the days when the girls are scheduled at that late time, we go to the pool. Or the boys will go to the pool. So we have that. Our pole vault coach teaches things with pole vault in the pool. We have to utilize everything we can. We have what's called Bengal Drive. It's a road that goes to the parking lots or out to a street. We'll sometimes cone that off, and they don't really like it because people use the street, and we'll run that. We've gone on our bike, we've gone in our cars. It's a mile if you go down and back. There's speed bumps. We've gotten to where you sprint here, jog here, walk here, sprint here. All those kinds of things to try and get outside as soon as we can. Last year we had turf, one field, so then we had to share it with baseball and softball because they wanted to get out there and throw, because it bounces different there than it does on the gym floor. This year now there's another turf field, so we're hoping that they use that, and we didn't practice when they were out there because obviously the ball's gonna come by, and that's not a good thing. So preseason captain's practice, here's my little preaching. Follow the rules, we expect our athletes to. You are not supposed to be in there coaching them right now. You're not. We have captain's practice, our kids go. Our captains are there. It's conditioning. Enough, but it bugs me. Don't be a cheater. We're supposed to teach, right? Be kind, don't bully, follow the rules, but we as adults don't do it. That's what they're doing. If the hurdles are out, they'll go through hurdle mobility over-unders. And do you know what over-unders are? Over the first one, under the, just those kinds of things. And then they're doing some running, some sit-ups, some push-ups, all those kinds of conditioning, core work. That's what they're doing. We don't want them to try to do technique stuff. Although some of them probably could. So I took the program that they give us, and I will say not only from yesterday, but all of the ones I go to have this long program, your build up, your season, your fine tuning, and your big meets. So our season starts at our school's spring break. It's always a repeat week because you are not going to have them all there. Back in the day, we didn't go on vacations, we went to practice. That is not the reality of the world today. And you cannot tell a parent that their family can't go on a vacation and their kids are going to be penalized when they come back. So it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks of handing out lockers for their lockers. So we like to sit down and we like to plan, but something inevitably is going to come in and you have to juggle. So we have station work with our team. And we'll have all of those things set up along the gym. Some plyos, some push-ups, some triceps. The volleyball team has blocks that we can lean over and you can stand on, and they work well, or you stack mats and then you have your arms back and you do your triceps. It's all that kind of conditioning work. Later on in the slides, I'll have more like a weekly example. Our throws coach came up with the best strength program we have had since I've been coaching. I told you how big our team is. And the weight room, we have, basically it's all free weights. And so you have kids in there who are never, other than Fayette in 9th and 10th grade, haven't been in there. This circuit that he does is so awesome, and it's a half hour. And we could see a difference this year in how those kids, us three are in a group. I start, in my 30 seconds, I move on to the second thing, you start. I move on to my third thing, you start. I have a rest, you go. The fourth route, I'm back on, and it keeps consistently going. Then there's a break, and we reset up some of the things for the next session of lifts, and we go through it again. Clockwork. We've never had such a great attendance at strength training. Team bonding activities, I love that kind of stuff. I hate doing it as an adult. But we have obstacle courses or fun relays. We have a Hawaiian themed activity that they do, and all of the relays involve sprinting and agility and the hurdles and handoffs, and it makes it, oh yeah, I like this, instead of just the rote always. So here would be an example. And we're not going to do that necessarily 4 weeks of exactly the same thing, right? We're going to mix it up. But we have to teach our team warm-up, and we have the skips in there, and you have kids who aren't going to do them correctly. It takes some time. So sometimes it's half the practice. But it is technique, and we have to keep telling the athletes, it's not just jog around the track, warm up, let's go. These are things that will help you perform better, because they get tired of it. But it's important. Then we do whatever our thing is for icebreakers and meeting, and we group our kids, senior, junior, sophomore, freshman, and so that there's returners with new kids, and that's a good way to let them meet each other. Throws, jumpers, so that they meet people that aren't in their event. And then at the end, we'll just get together and talk about whatever's coming up, or if our time changes, or if we can be outside that's hard on parents too, I will tell you, but we try to emphasize our first 4 weeks, our practice time is not always the same, and that's not our control. Tuesday, a harder workout would be like those circuits. We toughen them up. We have stairs, balcony. We have a cardio room at the school with bikes and treadmills. Our weight room, we have an auxiliary gym that has med balls, things like that. We try to get everything in the gym so that they're rotating around there, and then it's their 30, a minute on, 30 seconds to rotate. But we just go tough trying to get that. And then our weight room days are Tuesdays, Thursdays, which we weren't sure we would like, because as meets come, that's our meet days. So then they might get in there once a week, but we figure pre-meet time, they're in there twice a week for that, all that time in there, and then once a week if they don't have meets on the same day. Then Wednesday, we'll throw in some event stations. The coaches have something, and all the kids rotate to all of the stations. And that's our way of looking to, like, you know, maybe hurdling wouldn't be for that person, but I'll bet they'd do good at, and we are observing and looking at that. Hard workouts, we love hard workouts in the pool. Kids are really tired and the water is very forgiving. Then our outdoor long run, we usually Bengal drive. Distance kids will run to Dairy Queen and back. So then we're getting to building and focus. Our building and focus is, we are still conditioning. Our meets, several aren't even scored, right? Most aren't scored. You get your times, but there's not a you won the meet. Kind of fun for some of the other kids because they think they won, even if they won their heat. So it's kind of a self-rewarding for them too, to know that they've done that. But once we can be, and as you know, we've had snow in May, so we're hoping we're outside on week 5, or at least more regularly. When I talk about sharing the track, this is probably the biggest thorn for me. I have had some very good 300 hurdlers, and that's the boys' side of the track. And they have 200 kids. So to go and ask them, can you give me at least one lane? Can I just have lane 8 all the way around? But I have to coordinate it with the boys' hurdle coach too, because he might be in lane 8 on the 100 side. So it takes a lot of communication, a lot of give and take, and I have to sometimes be pushy. I need to do starts. I can't just do the end of the race. So you have to be able to work together. And fortunately for us, most of the time we can. I tend in the beginning that I kind of forgot that race. The 100s, that's where we do our hurdle warm-ups. That's where we did most of the drills. And it was difficult to get to the other side for asking somebody to give me space. And then I'd get to meets and I'd think, oh, I think they need a little bit more. And to try and get kids to alternate steps or to go around that curve, left leg is advantageous in physics of human motion, but you also have to balance that with that with the athlete. I do sprint workouts. The kids, the hurdlers, are we gonna hurdle today? Are we gonna hurdle today? Are we gonna do hurdles today? We do hurdles every day. But sometimes it's just hurdle warm-up drills, the technique drills. They have gotten far better doing, adding in those sprint workouts. We like flies. They do flies. If the sprinters are doing flies, we do flies. And then we go to hurdles. Sometimes I get kind of sour because everybody's done and I'm still working. It takes longer. You have more to do. So it's the nature of the beast. And then we continue strength training. We get them in there. It works better. We've tried to do morning weights. We've tried to do And our weight room is scheduled because they have a for-profit program. They have spring weight training, non-athletes, non-competing athletes and that. So we have to fit in there at in this time. It's kind of tough to go lift and then go practice. And sometimes you might have to. So it's all about that flexibility. So in those weeks, we have a team warm-up. We try to get everybody together. Most often the ones missing would be the throws. Otherwise, all the other events are usually there for the team warm-up. Hurdle warm-up is our next thing, unless we're doing flies, or it's a sprint workout. Our lead leg, trail leg drills. And then I might do 5 times 5, 100 hurdles with a 3-minute rest. Let's see what the whole race feels like. Typically at practice, it's 5 hurdles that we do. 5 times 5 hurdles, but spaced for the hundreds. Okay. I will have them do the whole race to see what it feels like, but I never practice all 10. I do technique all the time, and that's too many to, continue. And then I like 3 times 3 or 3 hurdles for the curve. So we'll start at like the 200 mark, and we go around the curve. So it's still about 100 that they're running. During the meets, I'm usually at the end of the curve yelling at them because that's the do or die point. Meet day, we used to have 2 meets a week, varsity, JV, always. You're trying to get those meets in, and it's your speed. This is a workout day for us. They're not, it's just got to be part of the workout. So that's our speed days. Sometimes now we don't have both. So varsity will practice, JV's at a meet. I'll go to the JV meet. So that's a sprint workout. And then we flip-flop. In between the meets, if they have 2 in that week, we work starts and go over maybe 4 hurdles. They always want to do more. Can we go over 5? Oh, we're just going to do this today. Just had a meet. And have a meet tomorrow. I like my kids to bring, I'll tell them, bring your phone out. All right, you're going to video me, and then I'm going to look at it. As much as we try to communicate what we're seeing, them seeing it really makes a big difference for them. Get your lead leg down. I do. Oh. It just helps. It helps us when we're doing things. So week 10 through 13, we may still have in 10 JV and varsity. When we have varsity only, most of my stuff is technique. Just really those fine little things that they can work, just really, really focusing on that. That doesn't mean I'm not focusing on them throughout. It's just this is where we have time. Maybe we have 4 hurdlers instead of 15. And there's more rest between their sets because I want them to go out harder. Typically that part of the season, we do our warm-up, we do our flies, we do our hurdle warm-ups, We'll do a lot of lead leg drills that involve getting the leg down, and trail leg, pulling it through and getting it down. That's that timing between the hurdles. And like he said, we have the same number. If you're three-stepping, you have the same number of steps. It's how quickly you can rotate them that's getting you faster. Alex Williams was by far the fastest hurdler I had, set a state record at 14:21 in prelims, and then fell in finals and still passed up every runner to finish third. My other hurdlers, that have gone on, great kids. Alex went to Arizona State, ran for them. Her sister's at Scholastica, doing quite well there. One of my 300 hurdlers that would have benefited from me being a little more pushy back when she was hurdling went to, she go to Morris? Do you remember where Emily went? Emily. Yeah. Morris. And did very well there. It's difficult to have those kids, but they are my resources as well. I texted Alex, hey, what's your favorite drill in college? You'll see one of them at the end here. Really? Oh yeah. It helped a lot. Really? Yeah. Okay. So you have to count on those people that go on. The reason I bring Alex up, and this happened to a high jumper when I was coaching high jump, and this is again just something that I want to share with you. If I walk over and you're there with your athlete, oh yeah, you're the hurdler, right? Because we know whose times are where and what. Oh yeah, well, good luck. Just do your best. Anything can happen. Little earworm getting in your head. Leave those athletes alone. I don't understand that. Oh, are you the high jumper that was jumping 5'5"? Was that you? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have you jumped higher than that? Why are you doing that to those kids? Leave them alone. If you want to say something to somebody that you think is good, it shouldn't be so that you can try and get in their head so they don't do as well when they're competing. And that is what the objective was. It was very clear. Because the girls looked at me after the person left. What was that? And you don't have a whole lot of time to clear that up. Okay, another preachy thing for me. Speed between hurdles, emphasize getting lead leg down. He had a great, a reference my daughter and I did a little hurdle camp this summer. She was coaching in Foley, so she had, some of those kids from Foley were more in attendance than my kids. It was at Blaine. And there's a girl there who 3 steps, it's like, really, could you get, just like, I think she woke up and 3-stepped. But her time isn't where she really wanted it. And she's that one that then kind of really leans forward over the hurdle and really kind of floats. I have Marvelous, who ended up, where was she in state? 6th or 7th maybe? We were all like, oh, she made it. Because she hurdled hundreds. Almost all season. I could not get her to quit stutter stepping. So I finally said, I know you don't want to, but you're going to hurdle opposite leg. I said, yes, you are. And this is like this fine-tuning week. This would be tips and tricks, right? All right, no, just walk up to it, go over. I made her do it. It took us all practice. She went, then she would jog, then she went a little faster, and then she went a little faster. And my goal was to get her to alternate legs, because she couldn't hurdle and be successful there, and I knew she could be successful. So she did that in a couple meets, and then she started three-stepping and she never went back. And she qualified for state and medaled in state. You have to think outside the box sometimes. I'm a firm believer that 4 is better than 5. If they're running them like she was, she's stopping before she's going over the hurdle. And it was all that visual of that's too far away to take off. And that's what I'm talking about, fine-tuning. When you have 15 of them all at the scene, you know, and you're trying to, and I've got kids coming from high jump after I've already gone through some things, and I still got those kids there who have been there the whole time who want to do this, but now I got the high jump kids and I have to start over with them, and I'm still, you have to just make it work. That's our hurdle warm-up. And I have slides that'll show you what those are. So, they start at the fence, swing the legs, lead arm, lead leg, trail legs, all into the fence. When we're indoors, we do them into the bleacher or into the wall. But they have to freeze, because otherwise they go up and they're like this. So they have to have the arm in the right position. And then that's how I create muscle memory for them. They go over and over. They have to do 10 each side. The big thing is that twisting of the upper body, and he's absolutely right. Whatever happens in the air is from where you take off. So there are times I have the hurdle and the lane lines down the middle of the hurdle. So I can watch them run to see where their feet are when they're running. Are they taking a step off to the side? Are they right in front? Are they outside? Because if my foot is toe in on takeoff, it's going to make a difference on how I'm in the air and what the rest of my body is going to do to balance it. It isn't about, this is what my arms are going to do. You're reflexing now, and your body's going to protect itself. So I watch the placement of the foot on their takeoff. I take, if I don't bring out the tape measure, I do this because I'm 5'4". Okay, that's where you should be taking off, and I'll put chalk or tape down. And then they practice taking off on those spots. Let's see. You know, it's funny because when I first started coaching track again, I thought, God, I just don't know. And we'd go to a meet, and all of us are having our kids do the same warm-up drills. So it's kind of reassuring. And then once in a while you see one or see something done a little differently, and you can make sense and make that adaptation. As a hurdler, because I was also a gymnast, I was the leaper. Straight leg, up over that hurdle, lean forward. I could get low to the hurdle, but I'm sure my leg was up there a long time. Never thought that it should be bent just a little bit and be coming down fast. Why? Because that's where your speed comes from, is your foot pushing off the track. So if you're in the air too long, you're not getting your speed. If they're too high, usually they're too close on their takeoff. Again, it's self-preservation. Up and over versus swoop, I'll show you that on a slide. And then snapping it down in your arms and body position. I have, and I know this is, it's just, my kids know who I am, right? But I will be behind them with my hands on their hip, on each side, go over the hurdle. No, because they do this. Hip out, hip in, and they need to be straight. Trail legs, Stephanie is the only one that I've had that really is like a knee to armpit. I tried to envision it when she was telling me, and then she would hurdle, and I would think, yeah, it's too high all the way around. It was like a puppet just up over all the time, and I thought maybe it'd be faster to pull it through, but once she started doing that and I was watching, I could see what they were talking about. And he had some good videos yesterday, and I'll try to show you that one. I don't have in here, but you do know, you know, pull that toe up, not pointed. And gymnasts like pointed toes, so that's something, if they are a gymnast, you have to work on with them. So my chalk marks for takeoff, I will do that over, I'll discount hurdles to force them to do the 3-step. And then when I start moving them out, then I put like the chalk lines so they know about, you'll be fine taking off there. This clapping the rhythm is because if you're watching someone in your mind, or, and some of the kids will get it from that. They don't realize till they hear it. Oh, because they have that little leap in there. So I will do that for them. Running tall instead of coming down, or getting ready to take off and they want to squat behind that hurdle a little bit. Lead down, leg down, body position. That's where I'm talking about going over this way and doing the twisting. All right. Any questions about any of that stuff?
I had one, Cathy. Back when you were talking about pool workouts, could you just give some examples of some of the money stuff that you were doing when you're talking about, you know, you're doing some pretty decent conditioning stuff?
Yeah, we separate the pool. Hopefully we have 3 coaches there. And they will go through their warm-ups across the shallow end. And we'll have squads for PE teacher, but we'll have lines of about 8 girls. And we try to get the taller ones towards the deeper. They go across, do their warm-up, and then we'll have 3 stations. In the shallow end, where I normally am, they'll have to sprint across, sprint back, they'll have to do push-ups on the gutter, they'll have to do triceps on the gutter. We do the whirlpool, so you're going this way till the water's going this way, and then you have to go against the water. They do bounds, or they'll do, let's say, like a tuck jump, and they have to get their knees up out of the water. What was another good one that we did? Do you recall? In the deep end, we do, you know, it's the pool, so they have the belts. And let's say you were doing the aqua aerobics or something, you know, they have those belts. They run in the deep end with those belts on, They have to sprint,
Like they're floating.
huh?
They're floating.
Yeah, they're floating with the belt, and so they're running. What else? I don't do the deep end. What else do you?
Which is too hard workout.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that's
a
on
hard
track.
workout. It's like they're running. You know, they're running what, 30 seconds?
Yeah, we'll do 200s, 300s, 400s, whatever.
So she'll time like a time of the race. And I mean, it's a lot. And then on the side, we have some lane lines, and they'll have to have the board out and be doing their flutter kicking, and then on their back flutter kicking. We've done some other things.
Done some circuits in there.
Yep, some circuits where I might have 3 stations in the shallow end, where one is the push-ups, one is the triceps. They have to do the leg swings in the pool. They have to do leg lifts in the pool from the side, and that's kind of a double workout because I make them try to keep their back against the side. I don't want them to float out and just be boy, I have a whole list. And we're only scheduled in there twice right now this year because we have to pay for it. We gotta rent it. So it comes out of our fundraiser or budget, which isn't really very very large. Okay. This is not a hurdler doing my demonstration. But I will say has become a successful hurdle coach. Make it bigger. Oh. All right, so this is our lead leg into, which would be the fence or the wall. So I'm not having her pause a lot.
You can pause it.
Oh, this one, however, where's my? When they first do this one for trail leg, they count. So they're here, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's very rote. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're not. They can concentrate, get the toe up. They are not putting it down on the side. They're bringing it all the way forward to the front of the hurdle. And after they've And I noticed after his talk I was going to look at this slide, and she is leaning forward. So, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then she'll go regular tempo. And it's a good warm-up because kids' hips start getting sore. And so this is arm position. They can't just go through this and not do the arms. And I'd say her back, the lead leg arm maybe is back further than, and that one the elbow comes out. So see how that arm, the elbow is out. I liked what he said about lead arm coming down. I thought that would be a good cue to use now for the kids because this is normal. That's what a lot of them will do. And that then will cause twisting on the landing, which then is going to be twisting when they take off next.
I said in yesterday's also, like her hand is really not that far from her calf though, but like you said, just bring it down a little bit. Like
Yep. Yeah.
I caught that cue yesterday when he said.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Yes, about touching your
Touching the
calf,
calf.
whatever. Like your hand will brush your calf.
Yeah.
Yeah, that that sat with me yesterday. So.
Yeah, because he was having you know, the watch. I think we get that the back pocket, but bringing it back. I like that. Then I have them do this. They really aren't going over the hurdle. And then this one, I always did it this way. I always did the straight leg. And so I still do the straight leg, but really I want them to come up and over. So we added that bend in it so that they're up and over. But I like the straight leg just for strength building. Now this is going to be swoop versus straight leg. You might have to start using your computer here. Okay. That's my tech advisor. Also my daughter, also now a St. Cloud track athlete, and now she's moved on to coaching. See how she comes around the side? And so that's what you want. Oh, I want to pause that. It's not always that obvious that they're doing that swoop, but if you stand on the lane line and they're coming down, because then you're interfering with other runners over your own hurdle, right? And you can tell because some of them, their leg is coming out, and you'll see it if you look on this spot. If you're seeing something that it just doesn't seem to be, that lead leg is coming, but it seems like it's doing this. And that's how I verify if that's what I'm seeing. This trail leg positioning, this is one of my favorites. Takes away some of their strength. Now this is quick getting it down.
What would you do for an athlete that can't straddle that?
They're too short?
Yeah, she's a height deficient freshman.
Yeah. I've had height deficient juniors.
Well, she'll be eventually that too, but
Yeah.
right now she's a freshman.
For which one?
For just kind of how she was straddling the hurdle.
Oh,
And then
this
bring
way.
that leg over.
Yep. Okay, go back to the first. Yep. This first one that they do, that's going to be difficult. Sometimes I have them come a little bit further up, and they'll put their leg, instead of straddling it, their leg will be up, which is how she does it the second time. I would just modify it and have them do it that way, unless you have the ability to have lower hurdles. So, all right, go ahead.
Because yesterday he said it doesn't have to be at race height.
Yeah.
Well, I never practice race height, and that's much to the disappointment of some of my hurdlers. I sometimes forget to even show them what race height is before our first meet. Those look higher. Oh, yeah, they are. I said, don't worry about it. You're going to be going a lot faster than you do in practice. You're still going to be too high over the hurdle. That kind of thing. But this direction here, and just have it on that hurdle and pull it forward and down. Now we were limited. I would have had her actually take off, but our video space was not going to allow us to do that. And then this one, for those that can, I like, because they have to do the whole motion. This Alex told me, pause that for a second. This is the one where they can focus on the hips being square to the hurdle. Now, in her practice, they had med balls that they had to hold up. And they did the 100, she said we had 10 to 20 hurdles we had to go over. And of course it's college, right? But they had to walk holding the med ball and doing the step overs of the hurdles without having the hips moving like this. And she said it helped, after she had started doing that, she cut time. Whether it trains the core to maintain, but it worked. Now, I want to do this, but I don't have med balls outside. And whether it's me or the girls, we don't want to bring them out. I made them hold their water bottles. They just get your water bottle up there. Because when they don't have to worry about their arms, they can worry about the hip. Do you want to see anything? Questions?
Go ahead, you
When
do.
you did the trail leg positioning like on the hurdle, like so you're sliding foot, have you ever inclined it at all?
I haven't. I was thinking about that because when you have it on the hurdle resting, you're not really working strength portion, and if you had it inclined, you have to bring it up. That might be beneficial, but I have not done that. Plus, our hurdles are very hard to manipulate. A lot of bleeding thumbs. I had to push in, and some of them, the bar and you have to kind of hit them together. Yeah. Have you done it that way? And what do you think?
I guess I've liked it, especially if they're struggling with figuring out that trail leg.
Yeah. It might be good, and especially even like your beginners, where they're learning to lift it.
And I have a couple basketball players that just like to bunny hop over
Yes,
it, and
yeah.
so trying to get them to actually think of the trail leg, I have them do it.
Yeah, I like that. Do you do it in the beginning of the season too then? Like when
Yeah,
you're
it's
doing,
like when we're first starting stuff,
Yep.
and then if they're starting to like fall apart in season, I'll bring it back.
yeah.
I was just curious if you had a workout that you do right around 9 or 10 that makes you just giddy, like if they complete it, you're just like, oh, I guess you have a legacy workout that you just love the.
One of my favorites, and it's more for the 300s. First of all, if I can have the whole race. But mine are, it's probably, it might be before 10. Where they'll run a 400, right? But I'll have them do the start through the curve, then no hurdles to the 400. And we'll do that 4 times. And if they can finish it without just walking to the last hurdle, that to me is like, okay, good. They can do that. For the hundreds, it's my favorite is when I can time them between the hurdles. And then, you know, as soon as they touch down, I hit go, and as soon as they take off, I do stop. And then they try to beat themselves. That's one of my favorites because they want to beat themselves. And then they turn their legs back over faster.
Thanks, I can see the game of, I mean, if they're competitive like me, they would love to see if they're faster between them.
Yeah,
That next hurdle.
yep.
When you're doing that one, or are you able to get umbrella hurdles? I mean, I probably couldn't. So which hurdles do you time them on? Like the second to third, or
I do 1 to 2,
1 to 2?
and I do 2 to 3.
All at once? Or
No,
just separate?
because
Okay.
I'm not fast enough.
Okay.
Unless
was
I
like,
have,
cannot do that.
if I have helpers,
Okay, yeah.
you know,
yeah.
like, all right, you're gonna go, so I have a hurdler with a stopwatch.
Yep.
Otherwise, a lot of times I'll skip like 3 to 4.
Yeah.
And I'll go 4 to 5.
Okay, thank you.
Cause that's that.
Yep.
Yeah. And if I'm able to, I'll have them do the race and time 7 to 8. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they are
Yeah.
doing that, and now can
Yes.
you speed up 7 to 8?
Yeah.
Cause that's harder. Those are the kinds of ones I play with. And it all depends, because I've got the sprinters on the finish line. You know, the sprinters are doing their workout on that end. So I don't always have all the hurdles. Wasn't that to me, my mind just went, when he said yesterday about putting the hurdles at the diagonal of the gym, so you didn't run into the wall instead of, because I'm always, oh, we don't have enough room for that many hurdles. And then he was talking about putting them across, and I thought, really? How many years? So that was good. Yeah, I'm finished unless anybody has anything.
Is your video part of your slides?
It is. I tried to make a copy and send it, but the videos didn't embed. So I shared it with you guys.
We're trying for 2 things in that department. One of them is we're videotaping the whole thing, and then anybody who is a clinician in attendance here will get the YouTube link, and then you can go back and look through it. And then also there's the value-added stuff that the folks are putting in, and we're gonna try and load that one in there too, so there'll be access to that.
And if not,
we hope.
you can email me. I probably won't have a Blaine one anymore, but I can send it to you. You have
Yeah,
it. You
yeah.
have my email.
Sure, and then we'll
So that could be put on this. I don't think I had it on that slide.
we can get that in there.
I have a question about that. So there was a couple sessions yesterday that I could be in 2 places at the same time, amazing. Are all the like YouTube videos gonna be available, like if I want